All right, please, I want to know if I can start.
You can start. Yes, sir. Please start the class.
All right. Um, this meeting is going to be short, since it's just going to be our first time. I just want to introduce myself and the course, then we can just take it up from there for the time being. All right. So, my name. Please, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So, this is my name, Kingsley Dra, as simple as ABC, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys face to face. This is a combined class. We have the computer science students as well as the software engineering students. And I guess, as you can see from the course code, you guys are both in level 300 or the same level. Now, the course is a very important one. It's simple. Uh, you just have to follow some guidelines to ensure that things are being done, properly. So I won't waste much time. Let me just give us this short uh, introduction. So, as the name connotes, human-computer interaction. Human-computer interaction. So, this course is basically not programming that I know most students are scared of. Neither some sophisticated algorithms will be written here and there. And you guys, I know most of you guys, as at now, you are still scared of programming. But since you are computer science and software engineering students, that shouldn't be a problem, because last semester when I met the IT class, I think they were complaining a lot. But for software development or software engineering students and computer science students, your core mandate is to be able to develop applications. Yeah, so if you've traveled this far to be in level 300 and you can't, or you've still not been able to even develop a simple application, then I don't know where you are heading towards, because God willing, by next year that you'll be completing school, I don't know what you're going to become after school. So, um, all right. So this is just by the way, because this human computer interaction has everything to do with software development. Yeah. So as you are developing any system, you are supposed to follow certain guidelines, especially the interaction of it. You don't just, you must be creative. You are trying to ensure that every control you put on your interface has a meaning. Every control you put on the interface should be well positioned, because sometimes you may develop one application, and when you test the application on different devices. Yeah, because as we can see, when it comes to desktop, the interface is as different as a web application, and also it's as different as the mobile phone. And even with the mobile phones, we have different types. We have the Android, we have so many types. So sometimes when you are designing and your focus is just in one particular device, you may end up, losing lots of customers, because somebody may download your application, and maybe your submit button will be at the right corner of the person's screen, or somewhere far like that. It can be misarranged due to certain things they didn't put in place whilst ensure. Even from the color designs, the color blending, like this course is actually going to help you to know where to put every control. Why do you even need a control, and how fast or friendly the interface can be to the user. So this is human computer. So there is a human and there is a computer. So how can the human and the computer interact, you know, successfully or safely without any form of um, stress? So when users are using your application, they should enjoy the interface. They should enjoy some responsiveness. They should enjoy some feedback. And even the kind of language you use in your application is also important. So this course is nothing, and it is just basically you making sure your interface is user friendly as users are, using the application. All right. So in our next slide, can you see my next slide?
Hello.
Can you see my next slide? Can you see my next slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So with the next slide, this is just an introduction. With the next slide, we are looking at the introduction to human-computer interaction. We'll be looking at the history. Why did we start studying the human-computer interaction as a course in our schools? What happened? Because a brief history, especially in India. India is now one of the countries that is doing well when it comes to software development, and they realize that most of the uh, software companies are able to come up with whatever system you want. So it is able to, do whatever is important or is expected of the system. But they realize that designers or programmers are really facing difficulties when trying to bring up or put up a nice interface to make sure the system is user friendly. So that brought about this particular course for us to also put in place. Whilst developing a system, you don't just put any control anywhere, you don't just bring anything on board. You should be mindful, and everything you put on board um, should have a purpose, and that when users are using the system, they shouldn't stress, finding information, how you make your interface right. You have to consider people who have, problems with their ears and eyes, the kind of grammar you're going to even put on. If your words you're going to put on um, are ambiguous, you know what it can lead. So this is some of the things you're going to look. They also have the guidelines. Yeah, so there are principles. We will look at the Schneiderman's principles. Uh, we have other principles that we're going to look at. So all these principles put together, when you are developing your system, you should be able to have them in mind at the back of your mind. So whilst you are developing, you pinpoint these uh, rules. There are many of them, and you're supposed to learn all of them. Yeah, and you must also know that not all the guidelines can be applied to every system, but just that out of the multitude of guidelines, you look at the one that can best fit what you are currently, working on. They also look at what we call the interactive system design. Interactive system design. So, as I said earlier on, we're looking at how your system should be able to talk to each of the users um, based on the design you shall put in place. Then we also look at the interactive devices, the devices such as desktop computers, mobile phones, and also with the tablets and stuff. Yeah, then this particular course is also going to introduce us to what we call the science of HCI, the brain behind what we are going to study. Then we'll be looking at what we call the user-centered analysis. We must know the people we are dealing with. Remember, um, we know that systems are different from various institutions, the same way as human beings are, since human beings are different in their own way. For instance, the way the bankers or people who work at the bank think is different from the way people in the building engineering, also think. So, and as we all know, or at your level, you know that a system developed for the banking system, it should be different from the engineering aspect. And even with the banking systems, every bank has the various rules and regulations they tend to follow. So we have to learn the people, then the system that we need, then we know how to design the system as well. Then after that, every system needs an update. So as you are updating your system, you also keep in mind certain keys you need to put there, things that you're supposed to take out. So when it comes to update is not only adding up features, it's also about removing. Whether it is adding or removing, it's a way of trying to make the system look better. So when it comes to computer interaction, it's not a one day thing. It can take years. So once a while you update the system, once a while you update the system to ensure that there is a user friendliness with you know the users. Users should enjoy the application. Okay, and we are not just looking at the situation whereby the system is able to do what's expected. We are also looking at the fun side where users can easily do so many things and enjoy the system as and when it is being used. Yeah. Then with the third section, things to keep in mind. Lecture notes shall be provided after each lecture. So after each lecture, um, I'll provide a lecture note. I think today's one is not a part of it because there's no lecture notes here. This is just a presentation that I'm doing right now. Then every lecture shall be uploaded onto my YouTube channel for revision. So after every um, lecture, I'll upload the video onto my YouTube channel. I'll leave the channel name, and a link to your class reps so that they can, place them in your respective groups. That doesn't mean you guys shouldn't come for lectures because uh, I know students, they will do all things necessary. When they hear, oh, that there is a video, then they will not bother themselves. Now, please try and come so that if you have any questions, um, you can talk things out. Yeah, so that being the first to know is something uh, something good. And also, I'm going to put it there because during exams time, you can so it's because of examination, yeah, and probably those who may be sick along the way, you can try to go back to the channel, revisit all the lectures that we've done, so that at least it can prepare you for the final exams. So we have mid-sem that is going to take 20% of your marks. So I've given everybody 100 marks. Yeah, so it is um, your how do I put it? Your responsibility to take what you want. Yeah, you're giving everybody, all of you have 100 marks each. So it is your duty to just take the one you want. Maybe others will go for 20, others will go for 30. Please, when you feel, don't come and cry onto me, okay? Yeah, so as you can see, I'm giving everybody 20. Now, class score is also 20 marks, and the exam score is 60. I guess you guys are aware of that, so I'm not going to talk much. All right, so I don't want to talk much since today is just the introduction. And if you have any question, you can ask. Okay. Yeah. So let me just open the floor. Let's know ourselves so that next week when we meet, you just kickstart. All right. Somebody has raised their hand. You can talk. When about you can talk. Or there's no question. Please, if you have any question, you can talk. Yeah. Somebody call Win. I don't know what is that. Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. My question is regarding the course. I don't fully, how do I put this? If I may, what exactly are we supposed to get from it? Because the name is not, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Were you here earlier on
Yes, sir.
from the start?
Okay.
Were you here from the beginning? Hello.
When you explain that,
It's Isel Multimedia. Can you tell him what we are about to do? All right, so let me just come back again. This course is going to help you to be able to design your systems very well. I mean, the part where you are trying to develop an application. So, like I said, during the developmental process, we are looking at how you are aligning your controls. If you've ever designed any system before, I don't know, I don't know whether you guys have done Visual Basic. Let me just take the Visual Basic for instance. When you are designing a form, you're supposed to put your controls at the rightful places. You may design a system where um how do I even put it? For instance, in Ghana, for instance, we read from the left or we write from left to the right. But when you go to some countries, they write from the right to the left. So in such countries, for instance, if you are developing a system for them, you should know how the arrangements should be. You don't just put anything on the screen because they are familiar with reading from the right to the left. The system controls should be, properly aligned. And sometimes you see people design systems and they don't look really attractive. So this particular course is going to give you certain guidelines to ensure that as you are developing the system, you have all these guidelines that no, if I see if my application's background is white, I don't put you know a white text behind it because white on white is going to blend in. The person will not see the information that you have. And sometimes when you have an application where you insert maybe a message. Now, when the message comes to the user should be able to read and understand. The user should be, clear on the information or the instruction that is being given to the person. So just imagine you are saving a document onto in a particular system. So you click on save and you don't see anything as to whether it has saved or not. This makes your system not interactive because as to whether it has saved or not, nobody knows. But the moment you click on save and it tells you your document has been saved successfully, that is a way your system is talking to the user to know that, oh, okay, the system has been able to recognize that my file has been saved. Assuming there is no information back to you, it's going to make the system quite difficult, to work with. So these are some of the examples I'm trying to put up here. So there are rules governing how you can design your system. This is where you are supposed to be creative. There are rules in how you talk to your users. Your application's message that is going to come back to the user shouldn't be rude. So this is where we call interaction, the computer and the human what interaction. So you as the designer, you are the one coding and anticipating whatever is going to be done on your system. Your system is able to delete any item. Now, when your system deletes, if I'm a user, I don't know your system, and I click on delete, I can see delete. Delete means remove something from a repository. So I click on delete, and the system does not tell me whether successfully it has deleted or not. It doesn't make the system interactive because I won't know. The moment I click on delete and nothing is telling me, your system is telling me nothing, it's kind of going to be a challenge. So there are rules, there are principles that as we move on, the system is going to this particular lecture is going to put certain things in your head such that when you are developing your system, you should be looking out for okay when it saves, the system should tell the user it has saved. When it is something is being deleted, it should tell the user. So your system should be interactive. Are we okay? So as a programmer, you should know what to write, and even when you are given an information, how to put your words together is also, another thing. There are some good programmers who can't even speak good English. There are good programmers who cannot design properly. So aside you being a software developer or a computer science student, you should be able to make your system interactive. You don't put things anyhow. You don't blend colors anyhow. All we are looking at here is making sure that your system does not just do what is expected, but also bring that form of um, friendliness. You know, your system should be effective. whilst in use. Okay, yeah. So when looking for a particular button, you shouldn't, you know, roam all the interface. You shouldn't also make the interface, contain so many controls. Yeah, so these are some of the things you are going to be you are going to be looking at. I'll be bringing some of the some applications where you identify certain petty mistakes that developers do while developing, their system. Is this explaining whatever you didn't understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
So if I ask you to tell me what I told you, you can tell me
In
under 30 minutes, or you want under 1 minute?
I think I can give a brief description of
All right.
what
So
you
yeah.
said.
Okay. All right. All right. So
So,
yes, sir.
hello,
King K. Yeah.
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Talk to me. I can hear
Yeah.
you.
So, are you displaying any slide?
Pardon?
Because I can just see change to time. Are you displaying any slide?
No, I'm not displaying any slide. I'm
Yeah, I'm
just.
saying, are you displaying any slide? Oh,
I'm.
okay. Okay, sure. That's fine. That's what I wanted to confirm.
All right.
Uh,
So are you okay?
yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So it is not anything difficult. Okay. So just visit the next lecture, and it will be amazing. Okay. Yeah. Just have to, because this is a 3 hour credit course, and it's quite, I won't say it's quite, it's actually important, just as the programming. So as you take your programming serious, this one has everything to do with what you are doing, but this time you are looking at how to make your system being able to be interactive with the users that are using. So as you are developing, you should have it at the back of your mind that, okay, let me try as much as possible to make things easier for the users. Are we okay? Yeah. So God willing, next week same time we are going to meet, and then this time we are going to go, deeper to know what we have to do whilst, developing our system. All right. Lovely afternoon. See you next week. Bye.